The reality of Connie Stevens is more sinister than anyone could have ever guessed. She's finally coming out at 86. The terrible marriage she concealed, the murder she saw as a youngster, and the addiction that almost took her life. The millions they stole, the formidable foes who attempted to silence her, and the unanticipated hero who rescued her after all else had given up are even more startling. On August 8, 1938, Connie Stevens was born in Brooklyn, New York, as Conchetta Rosalie Angolia. Teddy Stevens was her father's stage name as a jazz pianist. She had a singer for a mother. Her early years were filled with music, but her home situation was challenging. She was taken to live with her grandparents after her parents' divorce. Catholic boarding schools were assigned to her when she was 8 years old. That dominated her life for the next few years. Her independence and determination were fashioned by the rigorous schedule and the time away from family. However, she was unprepared for what transpired when she was 12. She saw a murder one day in the streets of Brooklyn, a horrific, life-altering event. Her relatives took a severe measure since they were afraid for her safety. She was transported to Boonville, Missouri, far from the mayhem, to live with friends. The trauma of what she had witnessed never left her, even if life was safer and quieter in the small village. Music was with her through it all. Her passion was her escape. Because of her innate skill, she soon found herself singing everywhere she could. Her path was paved with her passion. She relocated to Los Angeles with her father when she was 15. It was a location where dreams may come true and a new beginning. In Los Angeles, she adopted his stage name, Connie Stevens. There wasn't much work at initially. She took on modest film jobs in an effort to get experience. She simultaneously pursued her dreams of becoming a musician. Alongside 3 young guys, she became a member of a vocal quartet known as the Foremost. Although the group didn't last long, the male members went on to become well known as the Lettermen. Connie didn't stop. She joined the 3 Debs, another group. Replaced their 16-year-old alto singer. She gained greater experience and self-assurance from performing with an all-girl ensemble. But she was more than just a vocalist. Her dream was to be a movie star. She also had no intention of stopping until she arrived. With the 1957 releases of 18 and Anxious and Young and Dangerous, Connie Stevens made her Hollywood debut. These initial roles weren't revolutionary. However, they made her known as a promising young actor. The low-budget teen film Young and Dangerous follows a group of disobedient young people who are enmeshed in the excitement of fast automobiles and crime. Stevens played Candy in a supporting role, while Mark Damon played the protagonist. She gained expertise in front of the camera during a period when teen rebellion films were a big fad, even though it wasn't her big break. In the same year, she starred in the drama 18 and Anxious, which addressed the reality of adolescent pregnancy. Though it wasn't as well known, her part in this movie was another milestone in her early career. Stevens agreed to a 7-year contract with Paramount Pictures that December, which would have started at $600 per week with scheduled raises reaching $1,500. It was significant for a novice, providing both the opportunity to obtain larger jobs and financial stability. She had to search for other options after Paramount finally let her go. Rather from slowing her down, it helped her get closer to the moment of breakthrough that would make her career. In 1958, Stevens landed a big part in Jerry Lewis's musical comedy Rockabye Baby. Her acting abilities and on-screen charisma were showcased in the film, which was a loose recreation of The Miracle of Morgan's Creek. After seeing her in another young picture that year, Drag Strip Riot, Jerry Lewis was so impressed that he brought her into his production. Everything changed for Stevens as a result of this choice. Not only did Rockabye Baby's success advance her acting career, but it also led to new opportunities in music. She released Conchetta, her debut album, in the same year, including tunes like Looking for a Boy and Blame It on My Youth. She was launched as more than just an actor, even though it wasn't a chart-topping release. Hollywood favored multi-talented celebrities, and Stevens was demonstrating her ability to compete in both music and movies. Her ascent to prominence quickly included television as a major factor. She soon established herself as a recognized face to TV viewers by making cameos on popular programs like Maverick and 77 Sunset Strip. Warner Brothers kept her occupied by casting her in several shows after seeing her potential. Her portrayal as Cricket Blake on 77 Sunset Strip translated to Hawaiian Eye, the series that would solidify her fame. Making the novelty tune Kooky was one of her most memorable experiences at this time. Lend Me Your Comb alongside Ed Burns, another contract player with Warner Brothers. When the song peaked at number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 in March 1959, it became an unexpected hit. It was also noteworthy that she was a guest on Maverick. She appeared on TV alongside a young Adam West and James Garner in the episode 2 Tickets to 10 Strike. These TV appearances helped her develop a devoted following in addition to providing her with invaluable experience. Warner Brothers maintained its performers' visibility on a variety of venues, and Stevens profited immensely from this technique. She had made a smooth transition from small-scale cinema roles to major-scale production roles by the end of the 1950s. She was a budding Hollywood star who also sang and acted. Every appearance, every song, and every role influenced her career. This was only the start, though. Because of her performance as Cricket Blake in the 1959 to 1963 detective series Hawaiian Eye, Connie Stevens became well known. The show, which was set in Honolulu, followed private investigators as they solved cases in the glitzy island environment. Stevens participated in Cricket, a nightclub vocalist and sometimes photographer who frequently assisted the detectives in solving their cases. She wasn't merely an incidental figure. She was a lively, self-reliant young lady who brought personality, humor, and music to the series. Her part wasn't merely amusing. It struck a chord with young ladies who viewed Cricket as a new and contemporary character, someone who was self-assured and not in a haste to get married. Hawaiian Eye's usage of music was one of the elements that set it apart. Stevens' singing was skillfully woven throughout episodes, unlike other detective shows of the day, providing her with a stage on which to display her musical abilities. This was no mere ploy. Stevens' career and the show both benefited from this astute decision. Hawaiian Eye was created by Warner Brothers, who saw her potential and promoted her as a multifaceted celebrity. At about the same period, she and Ed Burns from 77 Sunset Strip released the popular novelty tune Kooky, Kooky, Lend Me Your Comb. The song's lighthearted back-and-forth lyrics made it a pop culture phenomenon and cemented her reputation as a stylish, carefree young performer. In 1960, her greatest musical achievement occurred with 16 Explanations. In addition to reaching number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100, this track was equally popular in the UK. Stevens' youthful, vivacious delivery and the song's infectious tune made it ideal for the early 1960s pop scene. Teens related to her, particularly young girls. The younger generation admired her for being independent, stylish, and vivacious. 16 Reasons' success wasn't a coincidence. Hawaiian Eye producers and her record company collaborated to market her songs through the program, ensuring that viewers recognized her as an actress as well as a singer. Songs like those she sang on TV are featured on albums like Conchetta and Is Cricket, which support this image. It was difficult for Connie Stevens to maintain her fame once Hawaiian Eye ended in 1963. Playing cricket had made her famous, but it was difficult for her to land the next big part. In 1961, she landed roles with Troy Donahue in the movies Susan Slade and Parrish. Though they had their moments, these love dramas didn't make her a big-time star. Her music career, which had previously produced blockbusters like 16 Reasons, began to wane at the same time as new musicians and genres emerged. When she encountered contract troubles with Warner Brothers, things became even more difficult. The studio refused to give her the flexibility she desired, including larger roles and more creative autonomy. She wanted to try out for My Fair Lady in 1962, which led to one of the most heated arguments. Warner Brothers put an end to that, resulting in an extremely public fallout. She was eventually fired by the studio, which prevented her from landing a consistent number of roles. Without their support, she found it difficult to land steady work in Hollywood. Stevens went to live performances in an effort to remain in the business. She developed a career as a nightclub singer in the late 1960s and early 1970s, traveling to large locations like Las Vegas. Her performances kept her in touch with her fans by combining her own songs with well-known standards. In 1967, she even won a Theatre World Award for her role in The Star-Spangled Girl on Broadway. Her career was sustained by this transition to live entertainment, despite the fact that she was no longer getting major Hollywood roles. There were difficulties in her personal life as well. She was parenting Jolie and Tricia Lee Fisher, their 2 daughters, alone after divorcing singer Eddie Fisher. Financially, things became difficult. Even while she kept landing occasional parts, such as in Grease 2, 1982, and Back to the Beach, 1987, they weren't the kinds of films that would help her regain her early fame. Connie Stevens' romantic life, meanwhile, was anything but straightforward. Although it appeared to be a happy union at first, her first marriage to actor James Stacey in 1963 was a turbulent one. Due to Stacy's aggressive attitude, their relationship quickly became tense. Although there were few information available at the time, it was later discovered that their marriage had been ruined by abuse. But it was over by 1966. Stacy's early career was promising, but he was unable to get consistent film work. In 1968, he landed his breakthrough part in Lancer, and he eventually gained popularity on television. He was already divorced from Stevens by that point. His life took a terrible turn in 1973 as he lost both his left arm and leg in a horrifying motorcycle accident. He lost his girlfriend at the moment. He made a remarkable recovery in spite of this, receiving nominations for Emmys for his performances. However, his personal problems never went away completely. He had a daughter named Heather Elias from his brief marriage to actress Kim Darby. However, Stevens took a step ahead. She continued to pursue her career as an actress and singer, and she married singer Eddie Fisher a year after her divorce. For all the wrong reasons, their relationship garnered media attention. At the time of his involvement with Stevens, Fisher was still legally married to Elizabeth Taylor. And Stevens was already expecting Jolie Fisher, their first child, by the time their divorce was finalized. The union itself was anything but steady. To make matters worse, they both battled personal issues like addiction. The marriage ended the next year, despite the birth of their second daughter, Tricia Lee Fisher, in 1968. 1969 saw their divorce, leaving Stevens alone to raise their daughters. Already, Fisher's career was on the fall. His record of unsuccessful marriages had made him more well-known than his music, which had once made him a popular performer. A lengthy history of both emotional and professional upheaval preceded his tenure with Stevens. But for Stevens, her children were the most important aspect of life following the divorce. It was difficult to raise Jolie and Tricia Lee Fisher alone, particularly in Hollywood. Money was scarce, and juggling a job and motherhood was never easy. However, she was adamant about providing her girls with a secure life. In contrast to her own turbulent background, she decided against being married again. Rather, she concentrated on her work and creating a better future for her family. Despite the erratic nature of her career in entertainment, she never gave up. By the 1990s, she had transformed into a prosperous businesswoman and established a lucrative beauty brand that contributed to her financial security. It marked a sea change. Finally, after years of uncertainty, she was in charge of her own life. Her two daughters both pursued careers in entertainment. Playing Paige Clark in the sitcom Ellen and Joy Stark Until Death is Jolie Fisher's most well-known role on television. Performing in her mother's Las Vegas acts at a young age, Tricia Lee Fisher made her cinematic debut in Stick. Later on, she made appearances in CHUD 2 Bud, The CHUD, Pretty Smart, and Hollywood Chaos. She even took up music, putting out an album in 1990. Jolie and Tricia have talked about their mother's impact frequently during their careers. Resilience, reinvention, and never letting circumstances define you are some of the lessons that Stevens' own industry troubles taught them. Their family stayed close, occasionally performing together and helping one another through the erratic highs and lows of Hollywood. After establishing a career in entertainment, Connie Stevens chose a new path when her acting and musical chances began to wane. Her career and financial destiny were drastically altered in 1989 when she introduced her skincare line, Forever Spring. The brand actually debuted a year earlier than many people think, in the 1990s. This wasn't only a side endeavor. Her whole focus was on entrepreneurship, and she ensured its success. Stevens personally advertised Forever Spring's items on the Home Shopping Network, HSN, which allowed her to penetrate the market. It was a calculated move. By showing up in person, she connected with clients and built trust by using her celebrity appeal. In order to invest $1 million in merchandise, HSN had enough faith in the brand. However, a catch existed. Until the stock ran out, Stevens was responsible for paying for her own costs. Although it was a risk, it was worthwhile. The items, which included ginseng and collagen face creams, gained popularity very fast. Their quality was acclaimed by customers, and the brand's success beyond all expectations. This business arrived at the ideal moment in terms of finances. Stevens needed a reliable source of money to sustain her family as performing roles became more and more limited. According to her, she founded Forever Spring in part to pay for her daughter's schooling. The business ended up being more than a means of subsistence. The business grew to be worth millions of dollars. Later, in a lawsuit, Norton Stein, her former manager, asserted that he should receive a portion of the proceeds. Even though Stevens denied this, the lawsuit showed how much money the brand was making. She also made astute financial choices in the real estate industry. She proved that she has financial acumen beyond skincare when she sold her home in Holmby Hills for $17 million in 2016. Over time, her net worth increased to an estimated $20 million due to her combined success in real estate, business, and entertainment. It was more than just product sales that made Stevens successful on HSN. She knew how to hold the attention of an audience. Her ability to interact with viewers was crucial to the expansion of her brand, which was mostly fueled by infomercials. She gave examples of how the products functioned and recounted tales rather than just listing their advantages. The difference was this personal touch. They weren't only purchasing skincare products. They were believing in her sincerity and trustworthiness. Her business endeavors continued after that. By establishing the Connie Stevens Garden Sanctuary Day Spa in Los Angeles in the 1990s, she ventured into the wellness sector. This strengthened her standing as a wellness and beauty businesswoman. Her ability to adjust and succeed outside of show business was demonstrated by her successful shift from Hollywood star to business entrepreneur. Stevens made time for charitable endeavors in addition to his company. Her dedication to education and cultural preservation is demonstrated by the creation of the Wind Feather Project, a scholarship program for Native American students. Along with supporting cancer-related charities, she also took part in USO tours, performing for troops in the Persian Gulf and Southeast Asia with Bob Hope. Her legacy was further enhanced by these endeavors. One that was founded on giving back as much as on financial success. Connie Stevens kept herself occupied in the late 1970s and early 1980s with a constant flow of jobs in television and movies. After appearing in Love's Savage Fury in 1979, she went on to star in TV films such as Murder Can Hurt You and Scruples in 1980. She participated in Sideshow and Aloha Paradise in 1981 as well. Then came Harry's Conflicts that year. She got a part in Grease 2, a follow-up to the original that never quite lived up to the hype, in 1982, but it helped her portfolio develop. She was also kept in the spotlight by television. Popular shows including Hotel, The Love Boat, and Fantasy Island featured her as a guest. She also appeared in Murder, She Wrote, Detective in the House, and Tales from the Dark Side. Despite not being prominent parts, these kept her employed. By the middle to late 1980s, she continued to make progress. She appeared in the supporting parts in Bring Me the Head of Dobie Gillis, 1988, Tapeheads, 1988, Back to the Beach, 1987, and Rowdies, 1986. She was a regular guest on Bob Hope's USO programs during the same period. His 1988 Persian Gulf Christmas performance is one example. She was still a member of the industry even though she wasn't getting the breakout role she desired in Hollywood. When it came to her first time behind the camera, Connie Stevens took on a challenging task. Saving Grace B. Jones, which she also wrote and produced, marked her directorial debut in 2009 at the age of 70. It was an audacious step, making her one of the most senior female filmmakers to make a feature picture debut. The narrative, which was based on true events, centers on Carrie, a young child who, after going through trauma in Brooklyn, is moved to live with family friends in Missouri. The main focus of the movie, however, is Tatum O'Neal's character Grace, a woman who has just been discharged from a mental hospital and finds it difficult to reintegrate into society. The film's narrative incorporates themes of family, mental illness, and resilience, all set against the tragic backdrop of the Great Flood of 1951. Reviews of the movie were not entirely positive. A few reviewers gave the performances high marks, especially for Tatum O'Neal, Michael Biehn, and Penelope Ann Miller. Although some thought the direction might have been more restrained, Stevens' work was acknowledged in spite of the criticisms. At the New York City International Film Festival, O'Neal took home the Best Actress prize. Stevens shone her dedication to storytelling by taking on such a complicated and intensely emotional narrative for her debut feature. The themes were more than merely theatrical decisions, they represented her own experiences, which were influenced by the things she had seen in her life and work. Stevens never abandoned acting, even after he transitioned to directing. In order to demonstrate her versatility and commitment to her trade, she kept taking on film jobs. In 2014, she starred in Courtney Cox's comedy drama Just Before I Go. A pleasant presence in an ensemble cast that also included Olivia Thirlby, Garrett Dillahunt, and Sion William Scott, Stevens played Nancy in The Picture, which tackles themes of friendship, family, and personal development. She then starred in the 2016 movie Search Engines, which explored family relationships during the holidays and technology addiction. The opportunity to collaborate alongside her daughter, Jolie Fisher, made Search Engines very noteworthy. The two portrayed family members, incorporating their own relationship into their roles. The chemistry between them was organic. And viewers valued the genuineness they exhibited in their parts. There was more to the partnership than just business. It was intimate since it gave them the chance to spend time together doing something they both enjoyed. Stevens had consistently encouraged her daughter's entertainment endeavors, and Jolie had established a successful career for herself, appearing in movies like Inspector Gadget and television series like Ellen. Collaborating on search engines was more than just a show. Their relationship as family and artists was being celebrated. Known for her brilliance, charm, and fortitude, Connie Stevens had been in the public eye for decades. But in 2016, she encountered a difficulty she had never encountered before. Her life abruptly changed when she had a severe stroke while eating at a restaurant. She was unable to walk or even carry out the most basic activities since she lost all left side movement. There was no time to waste because of how severe the stroke was. She battled the consequences of paralysis for 16 days after being taken to the hospital. Connie's stroke was more than just a physical setback for someone with her level of independence. It was a moment that made her face a new reality in which she had to exert herself to move. And the things she used to do without thinking twice become almost impossible. She was never one to give up, though. She was frustrated and uncertain, but she refused to let the stroke define who she was. She found strength in her daughters, Jolie and Tricia. When the path to recovery appeared too difficult, they supported her and stood by her side through every hardship. Connie was prepared to fight for her body's authority, even though she knew it wouldn't happen right now. Her daily routine included physical treatment, which forced her to relearn even the most fundamental actions and retrain her muscles. She then received occupational therapy and speech therapy, which helped her regain the abilities that the stroke had taken away. In a number of ways, Stevens has made her mark. Her name is unchangeable. Specifically, on 3 distinct trajectories of celebrity. Her influence is demonstrated by the fact that her lights shine throughout Palm Springs, Hollywood, and even Toronto. But her impact on the entertainment industry extends far beyond her fame. She assumed a position of leadership in the Screen Actors Guild in 2005. She assumed the position of secretary-treasurer when James Cromwell resigned. She accepted it despite the fact that it was the second highest elected position in the union and carried significant responsibilities. Her commitment was then recognized in a very different manner in 2013. She has supported American troops wherever they were stationed for more than 40 years as a regular member of the USO. Her dedication was acknowledged by the Daughters of the American Revolution National Society, and gave the Founders Medal for Patriotism to her. Presenting the award herself was Marian Wright, President General of the organization. Stevens did, however, talk openly about her job in 1988. Even though she wasn't where she wanted to be, she persisted. She still had aspirations of working with Marlon Brando on films, but she realized she had to get hot first. She believed that Hollywood had not given her the recognition she was due. She was well known throughout the world and performed during the holidays in Hong Kong and Japan. She didn't become well known due to a popular TV series, a successful movie, or a #1 song, but she had made something enduring. Years later, Cricket, the character she created, was still beloved by fans. She believed that she was more than just an actress. She was a household name, with 17 employees running her company. Hollywood didn't seem to take her seriously, though, despite everything. She struggled to acquire the same possibilities as other women who starred in shows like Dynasty or Falcon Crest, but she saw them secure production deals.